you first heard about it and what your reaction was initially.
I believe they had announced it from December, but I did not really notice it, or I didn't hear about it. The first time was a few days before the 8th of March, the International Women's Day. I came across a video clip of some of the Iranian women, Iranian activists, some of them I know, half naked, like topless. And I just got shocked. What is this? I mean, what are they trying to do? And they had tried to actually imitate. I don't know if you've heard about Golshifte Farahani. Golshifte Farahani is an Iranian young actress, and she's become internationally known for playing in a film with Leonardo DiCaprio. And she went back after that Hollywood film. She got harassed by the Islamic regime. So she came to France, and now she lives in France. There's this what called César award, which is equivalent of Oscar in France. And they were trying to make a promotion video for César and the young actors that are nominated for César Award. In this video clip, there are about 8-9 actors, female and male, all young, who take their shirt off. They're all sort of topless, or they become topless in front of the camera. Golshifte Farahani, who is an Iranian actor, she takes her shirt off, and there is some kind of poetry they sort of say as the film goes on, and it's talking about freedom of the soul and body and so on and so forth. This Iranian video clip that I mentioned had tried to imitate this promotion video of César Award, and saying some sort of very sort of fancy sounding, big sounding slogans, but really void of any meaning if you really listen to them. They're in Farsi, Persian. So I really got shocked. I said, what's this? And then I found out that this is a sort of a promotion for launching, is a sort of launching video for that calendar that was supposed to be published on 8th March. And that's when I saw it, on 8th March, and I was appalled. That was my first reaction.
Mm-hmm. And so the idea behind the calendar, or, one of the primary ideas that's being put out there around the calendar is that female nudity is revolutionary or radical under these circumstances. So what are your thoughts on this? Is this calendar revolutionary?
No. For me, revolution goes deeper. For me, revolution has more, there's more meaning, is more substantial than an exhibitionist act, like taking your clothes off and take pictures of yourself and put it in a calendar. It's so cliche. It's just been done so many times. You've seen, when you go to all these Hollywood films, when you see a garage, a mechanic, you see a calendar of naked women or women in bikinis hanging on their walls, and then you go to all these sort of shops that sell posters and CDs. You see different kinds of calendars of women half naked or naked. Recently, there have been some moves to sort of use these kind of naked photos of celebrities for a cause, a good cause, and now we see this one. And nobody so far had called it revolutionary. It's only from them that this adjective has come to describe a calendar of some nude women. As an act of protest against political Islam, for freeing women. There are so many slogans and claims made by the creator and people who took part in this project about this calendar. That's really just amusing sometimes to hear the slogans they've used for this calendar. I see nothing revolutionary in that. What is this supposed to do? Haven't we seen women's bodies being used in so many different ways? By the way, I have to make this point clear. I respect unconditional rights of expression for anybody. Unconditional rights of expression and beliefs, conscience, what have you. So my criticism is not, why did you get naked? That's their right. They can get naked. They can put their pictures up on the wall, sell their picture, put it on the internet, whatever they want to do with their naked pictures. My criticism is, don't try to make this as a brave revolutionary act against misogyny, against political Islam, and against Islamic regime, and on and on. This is not the case. This is not the case, and I would not buy that idea, even for a minute.
Mm-hmm. And, what about that idea that the calendar is intended to be an act of solidarity? So it's meant to be, I think, an homage to an Egyptian blogger.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name properly.
Azar Majedi.
Okay. And so I guess, so she posted a nude photo of herself on her blog. And so then they decided to make this calendar as an act of solidarity because I guess she was attacked and criticized for that. So what are your thoughts on that perspective? That the women in the calendar were going to support this young woman.
Well, I do not think by any means, even if they want to show their solidarity, this is a very good way to show their solidarity. Or it might just say, okay, we're in solidarity with her, but whether that this act is going to help Alia at all. Alia Majedi, she's a sort of 19, 20-year-old student in Egypt. She was in Egypt. Then she came to our 8th March conference. We invited her from Organization for Women's Liberation Iran, invited her to our international conference, which we held in Gothenburg, Sweden, on 3rd of March. It was actually about the situation of women in North Africa, in Middle East, in MENA region, in Iran, and the role of political Islam and the uprisings, recent uprisings, the relation of all these events as regards women's rights. She was invited to that. And when I saw her, she's such a shy person. She had difficulty to speak in front of 100-something people in the hall, and she spoke so softly that was sometimes difficult to understand her. Actually, when I just came to think, what had this country, that society, those conditions have done to this shy, quiet girl that have made her make such an act. And well, that you can understand is an act of protest. It's kind of mutiny. It's, you get suffocated, you get frustrated, and it's an act of sometimes even despair. It's sort of it's very, very spontaneous act of protest by a 19-year-old girl in a country where she sees she's grown up to see women being subjugated, humiliated, deprived of any rights, disfranchised, and now she's thought that there is some hope, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, but then Islamists come and then she thinks, oh no, everything is gone. This is the situation. So we have had all our solidarity with her, and we were ready to help her as much as we could, because she was actually threatened. She received death threats. Just the day she was going to get her visa from Swedish embassy in Cairo, she was kidnapped by some Islamist thugs. She was kept for a few hours. She was really intimidated, then let go. So you see, that's the situation there. so anybody, whether feminist or acting for, wanting freedom and equality for citizens of a society and for women's rights, would try to do something to help her. This is understandable. But you do not need to take your clothes off, stand in front of a camera, take a picture of yourself in different sort of gestures, put it in a calendar, put it online. You don't need to do that. I've never thought the act of solidarity is to do exactly something that someone else does. Like, I've actually mentioned it in my article. We had Ben Zayed, I think, in Tunisia, who set fire to himself. And that actually was the sort of the light for the whole movement to just sort of get so widespread. Would we do the same to show our solidarity to him or his family? I've always learned as an activist. I'm a long time activist. You go and protest. You try to, if they need money, you try to collect money, material help, moral help. You write, you protest, you go and demonstrate. There are these things that they are sort of classical ways, if you want, of showing your protest. They say this is a modern way to protest and this is very useful. Modern or not, I do not think that is really helpful or helping the cause.
Mm-hmm. And I know that some people will argue that female nudity can be radical because it breaks taboos, particularly in cultures, they say that that want women to be covered up, or there's this idea that women's bodies are shameful or that women's sexuality is shameful. So, what about the idea that this calendar could present a challenge to those ideas, that they're breaking taboos?
First of all, in Western world, let's just stick to this. In Western world, nudity is not a taboo. And where have they taken their clothes off? In the Western world, in Europe. I think they're all from Europe. They live in Europe. Originally, where they're from, I do not care. They all live in Europe, in the safety of European laws. And they've taken the photos and published it on internet. So there is no taboo breaking as far as the place that these photos have been taken, these women live and continue to live, and the place that this calendar has been published. Of course, if someone is in the Middle East, that region can see it on internet if their internet is not blocked. Of course, what Aliyah did in Egypt was breaking a taboo, was a kind of shock treatment, and had its own effect. But that effect is not going to live forever. That's another thing. It's a very short-term kind of effect. But what these women have done, they have not breaking any taboos. And even if they have broken taboos, I don't see that any taboo breaking has merit. There are many taboos you don't want to break. Like, fortunately, nowadays, violence against women has become taboo, and spousal beating has become taboo, and we don't want to break that, do we? I mentioned another one, incest, in my article. Some people got offended. But there are many taboos in this society that you do not want to break. What is this so exciting about taboo breaking? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And in this case, it's not a taboo. I could see under the law of those countries, if you do that, yes, you have broken taboos and you have risked your lives. Many people, before you asking me, after I wrote my article and published it, asked me, is it only when your life is threatened you can do that? And then they started mocking this argument. Of course there is something to it. Of course, when you risk your life and do something, there is more need to show solidarity and come to your defense. But when you're just sitting in the comfort of your homes in London, Paris, or any of these, in Stockholm, these European cities that nudity means nothing really very much, then I do not see any sort of bravery in that. And so that's also the answer to your other question, that in those countries, for example, in a country like Iran, where veil is obligatory, even if you take your veil off, you've done what is necessary to do. And many women, every single day, they have fights and clashes with the morality police or security police over because they have not properly veiled themselves, or they wear something that's not appropriate or looks Western. They have sunglasses, they have lipstick, they have nail polish, they have even boots or tight jeans or whatever. Even a suntan could take you to jail or give you a penalty. And these women every single day are going through that. They're breaking the laws. They're breaking, and they say no, and they show their resistance and defiance. That means something. Here, I really don't know. I really don't know what real meaning this act has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose in America and in much of Europe, nudity and women, showing off their bodies is pretty normal. Or expected, even, you could say.
Or you see, I'm sorry, or some people object to that because they say that women's bodies are being abused. Some people from that point of view, or it's quite natural. You go to beaches, nude, lie down on the sun, and no one cares. So you've got both sides. This side is a new one for me.
Mm-hmm. There's this common thread that I've noticed running through feminism today, or third wave feminism, I suppose you could say, that if a woman chooses nudity, then it can't be objectifying. So that because it's her choice, it naturally or automatically doesn't play into sexist ideas about women's bodies being on display for men. So that argument was used to defend both this calendar as well as groups like the Ukrainian protest group Human, who often protest topless. So can nudity be a way for women to reclaim a tool that's been used for suppression around women's bodies and whatnot? What do you think about that idea?
Well, I respect any woman's choice to run away, to walk away, or walk around naked, take her pictures. I said that's her right of expression, and I respect the right. She has the right. So if she wants to take pictures of herself naked, that's her own choice. But sort of repossessing tool of oppression or suppression as they claim, how? In an article I asked how you're doing that, because I was told that this is what it means. There are some women coming together repossessing a tool of women's suppression. I really can't see. I thought about it a lot. You do exactly the same thing as they do. You take your pictures naked, or you go to the street and stand off and take pictures naked again. You show your breast, you show all your body. How do you repossess a tool of oppression? Because you do not understand what it means when women's bodies are used as oppressing those particular women, not all women. Prostitution, that's one of the things. When women are forced to sell their bodies because of economic reasons, or because of the mafia and the gangs and slavery or whatever, women's bodies are used to suppress them. If women are forced to, for example, to take action in pornography or any of these things, I can understand. Their bodies are being abused. But that doesn't mean all women, all of us are abused, because some women are forced to prostitution or to sell their bodies to make a living. Those women are. We are not. We have the choice because of our situation, because we are privileged enough or whatever. So I really can see you do exactly the same thing as, for example, a nude picture in a tabloid or in pornography or in whatever for selling a commodity. You object to that. You call that abusing women's bodies. Then you do the same and say, I'm repossessing it. I really, honestly cannot see how this happens, how you can solve this equation. I really can't see it. The only reason they gave me was that are women doing it. So if women are doing it, it's okay. I have nothing to do with this trend of feminism that thinks woman is saint. Women, the word woman has found sanctity. So if woman says it, that's it. Woman is the first and the last word in everything. I do not believe in that. I do not believe in this kind of sectarian outlook towards women. I have nothing to do with that kind of feminism. The fact that woman has done anything doesn't say anything to me. The act itself has to stand on its own merits and justify whether it's revolutionary, liberating, emancipatory, or abusive.
Yeah, and on those lines, one of the women who posed in the calendar named Greta Christina, she wrote a response. I'm sure you read it. And one of the things she said was, this is a quote, "The default assumption should be that women are free to do with our bodies whatever the hell we choose, and that feminists ought not only accept and tolerate each other's right to make these choices, but actively support it." So, is that what feminism is about? Supporting other women's choices, no matter what they are? Must we support any choice a woman makes because she's making it? Like you point out, just because a woman chooses to do it, does that equate to feminism or a feminist action?
Well, some feminists think this way. I believe feminism has different trends, different tendencies in it. I have nothing to do with some tendencies in feminism and are much closer to another. I do not agree with that. I do not agree that I have to respect any woman's choice. I do have to support any woman for any choice she makes. No. I said I respect any citizen or any human being's right of expression. But that does not mean I respect what they express, the way they express it, what they believe. These are the content I do not necessarily respect, but the right of expressing it, I do. So there's no reason for me to respect anything that a woman does. I think I'm going to make an example that's become cliche. At least in the 80s, it had become cliche. Margaret Thatcher, as one of the most conservative, right-wing, anti-women, reactionary politician in Britain. She's done a lot of things. And some women actually think of her as their heroine because she was so powerful. I'm not that kind of feminist that think, okay, she's a woman, she was prime minister, she did so many terrible things, but since she's a woman, okay, I'm going to support her. No way. No way. I want a society that people are equal, people are free, and people are equal, and people are prosperous, all of them. Not a society that tears each other apart, like what we see right now. So it doesn't matter whether it's a woman or a man. If the act is justifiable, I respect it. If it's not, I do not.
Great, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today about this. I'm really appreciative of your commentary, and I was really glad to read your article. I was really glad that you provided that perspective and that critique, because it certainly was necessary.
Thank you so much, and I'm very enjoyed very much talking with you and this interview. And I really think we should sort of say these things because some people, mostly some men, who want to be on the side of women's rights don't feel comfortable enough to criticize, because they think if they do, they're going to be stamped as male chauvinist or sexist or misogynist or what have you. So it's very important that we come out and say exactly our criticism and say what actually this action means, and this has nothing to do with fighting for women's rights or equality or against political Islam. Well, they have the right to do it, okay, but please stop their revolutionary never. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Same to you.